Coming up today on Mini Scroll, cake pop TikTok has descended into chaos. A small business owner is going head-to-head with a country singer over alleged trademark infringement, and Lizzo's controversial collab with the Swiftologist. Hi everyone, welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the Australian youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. And thank you so much to today's sponsor, The Commons, Australia's premium co-working space. The Commons is truly a main character in the Centennial World cinematic universe, as the Chippendale location in Sydney has been our home for over 5 years, and it's where we record this podcast every single day. Whether you're a creative escaping the home office or a business owner looking to scale, The Commons offers beautifully designed spaces and a genuine sense of community across Sydney and Melbourne. And while the spaces are stunning, it's the team that really makes the difference. Their support for growing businesses has enabled Centennial World's success and sometimes survival over the years. If you're looking for a co-working space that feels considered, is community-led, and actually backs the people working there, head to thecommons.com.au. All right, welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Thank you so much for such a warm welcome back for us yesterday. You guys were all so sweet. And I was definitely on Struggle Street more than I thought I was. When I was editing the episode back, I was like, these opinions, I didn't hit like any of the things I wanted to say. I felt like half of it didn't make any sense, but I am feeling so much better today. Every day I'm getting better, obviously, and I'm feeling a lot better. So I'm ready to get into it. But before I do, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us so much. It helps us grow. It helps us keep going. It helps us get sponsors. So if you can hit that star rating on Spotify, leave us an Apple review, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on TikTok. We have a Mini Scroll TikTok now. We're about to hit 10,000 followers. I think like today, we'll probably hit it today. So she's been growing really fast, which is really exciting. All right, let's get into the stories for today. So the first story that I have for you guys today, there's some niche drama going down between two cake pop TikTok creators, Sweet Treats by Ashley and Cake by Katie. So Katie specifically has a pretty big following on TikTok. She has 740,000 followers at the time of recording. Ashley is newer to content, and she has amassed a significant amount of followers since all of this erupted. 2 days ago, she posted about hitting 25,000 followers, and now her account sits at 240,000. So even though this has come from drama, I am sure when she can look back on this, once she's like out of kind of the initial panic of like what has just ensued, she's probably going to be grateful, because this is going to be really amazing for her career, I imagine. Okay, so they both share baking and like behind the scenes style content of their cake pop businesses. Over the past few days, the two have been going back and forth online. To make a long story short, Katie is basically accusing Ashley of sharing her copyrighted Fruity Pebbles Cake Pops recipe in her content. You guys, why are we a trademark podcast? I can't stress enough. And the second story that I have today is about trademarking things. I was like, what is going on? I mean, I know that this is just like a hot topic right now online. So people are like bringing their trademark issues to TikTok to talk about, because people are like really engaged in this topic. But like, I swear, I'm not trying to find stories related to like legal matters and trademarks. I'm like the last person who should be talking about this. I'm sure if you guys are lawyers or like in legal at all, you listen to me cover these stories cringing, because I'm sure I'm getting shit wrong. You guys can always correct me in the comments 100%. But like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a trademark podcast, but like we are. It's like Mini Scroll podcast TM right now. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so allegedly Katie messaged Ashley telling her to take down the content that included the recipe. She had also made videos and Instagram stories about it, which I will get into. So I will start with one video posted by Katie where she explains what went down from her perspective. It has since been deleted, but there are, of course, reposts floating around TikTok. In the video, Katie is in her kitchen baking and chatting to the camera. She alleges that one of her copyrighted recipes was posted in full to TikTok. The copyright claim, she notes, is attached to her online recipe book. This is worth noting because we actually have discussed copyright in relation to recipes before. Last May, when Nagi from Recipe Tin Eats made similar allegations against Brookie Cookies, and at that time, we noted that there were some questions around like whether you can claim copyright over a recipe, because copyright doesn't technically protect an idea or facts, rather how they are expressed. So recipes can be kind of like a gray area because they are arguably factual instructions. Again, I'm not a legal podcast, okay? I'm not a lawyer. Let me know if you guys disagree with that, if you are in the legal profession. That is what we have found from our research. Nonetheless, in this video, Katie noted that this is something that happens to her pretty frequently. So because of this, she has a protocol in place where creators who quote unquote steal her recipes will be asked to take them down within 24 hours. In this instance, Ashley eventually got in contact with Katie and said she had never bought a copy of her book and also took the video down. Katie also names Ashley and asks to have a conversation with her.
Earlier this weekend, I found out that one of my copyrighted recipes was posted in full on here for 77,000 people to see. That's how many people viewed it. But the thing here is that my online virtual recipe book does have a copyright on it. So when someone has a copyright, you cannot take and distribute the work within that book. Unfortunately, this happens to me very, very frequently, and more unfortunately with bakers. You wouldn't believe on Reddit, on TikTok, they're taking, and when I say taking my recipes, I don't mean they're like making what they see me making in the video. They're taking my full recipe from the book, putting it in the comments, in the video, on Reddit, on Facebook, and that's just not okay. So because of this, I have an attorney to let everybody know the same thing. You have 24 hours to take the video down. I hadn't heard anything. I did make an Instagram story just saying, hey friends, don't do this. I was trying to get this creator's attention. I wasn't getting a response. Once I got a response from her, I took the video down. One thing I take very, very, very seriously is what I have created myself, and that's my recipes. Now, this person reached out to me and let me know that they actually had never bought a copy of my recipe book. I didn't get any information after that, an email, a name. I was blocked, so I wasn't able to confirm anything, but thankfully the video was taken down. We're obviously not going to pursue. I'm not sure, Ashley, I would love to have a conversation with you, but at the end of the day, this is my livelihood. So if something like that is threatened, like my copyright being violated, I do have to follow up on it.
Okay, so that was Katie's POV. Now this is Ashley's. She has taken to TikTok to share her side of the story and also posted screenshots of her conversation with Katie. They are also not live, but of course, it's all floating around online. So many social media users feel Katie's description of her own tone in the messages doesn't actually match what was sent according to these screenshots. And others have cast doubt on her claim about the 24-hour time frame, suggesting the timeline also doesn't quite add up.
Sweet Treats by Ashley actually shares the text messages between her and the other creator, Cake by Katie. She tries to explain to her that I don't have your recipe book. I don't have any of that. I just took your recipe that you posted online and I gave you credit for it. And you can actually still see that video right here. But if you look back, Cake by Katie says, stop lying. You posted my exact recipe, when Cake by Katie claims that she has some things that she throws in there that the people online would not know about. Sweet Treats by Ashley also explains that she posted her video today at 9:30 a.m. She literally gave me 1.5 seconds to respond to her DM she sent me at 9:37 before she brought it online.
Ashley also posted a video on TikTok that has since gone viral with over 8 million views. 8 million views for like a pretty new account is crazy. Ashley is sitting in her car, very visibly emotional. She's crying, and she addresses Katie's allegation that she stole her Fruity Pebbles recipe and like the looming threat of this lawsuit. So Ashley admits that she does take inspiration from other creators, adding that she has only been making cake pops for about 2 weeks. She says she never purchased Katie's cookbook and instead based her approach on a video Katie posted online about cake mix ratios, improvising the recipe from there. And then she finished by emphasizing that this is just a new hobby for her and that she wants no part of this drama.
I never thought I'd have to fucking make a video like this, and like I'm fucking crying in a Walmart parking lot, for God's sakes. But Cakes by Katie made a video about me saying that I stole her Fruity Pebbles recipe. I use a lot of inspiration from a lot of different creators. I just started my cake pop thing like 2 fucking weeks ago. She posted a video on like her cake mix ratios, and that's what I used. I never fucking bought her cookbook. I don't know her exact recipe. In her video, she said that I keep a couple secrets just for me because she copyrights her cookbook, so I don't have any way of knowing her entire exact recipe. I improvised. I was like, okay, I have the cake mix ratios for this. It looks really fucking good. how do I make this into actual cake pop dough? So I used my own shit and I fucking just posted it because it's what I did, and she's fucking made a whole video about me threatening to sue me, and because I stole her copyrighted recipe. Girl, I don't have your recipe. I never bought your fucking cookbook. Like, what are you talking about? And I started this shit 2 fucking weeks ago, and now you're coming at me. And she messaged me, and she's like, you're lying. I'm fucking suing you. You hear from my lawyer.
Her comments are so supportive, and even Snooki, my queen, if you guys know anything about me, you know. Jersey Shore, my number one. Oh my God, inject that show into my veins. I have watched every single episode of the OG, of course, and also Family Vacation. Like, I am that committed. I stay up to date with Family Vacation, okay? Snooki, my queen, was in the comments saying that she supports her. Okay, so soon after this, Ashley shared another statement on the situation, and this time it was written. She wrote, "Hi, my beautiful people. Thank you all for your support. Truly, it means the world. But please stop the hate comments toward Katie. I'm sure she got the point and will do better in the future. I don't want anyone to ever feel the way that I felt when this all started. I don't condone the bullying or attacking of anyone. That's why I made my video in the first place, so I would stop receiving hate comments from her followers. I just want to move on from the whole situation and hope people can be kinder and supportive of one another going forward. I see your messages and know I am grateful for the love, but please stop the hate." Okay, then Katie has now gone on to post another video apologizing about how all of this went down. So in this follow-up, Katie claimed she had acted on bad advice and had not fully understood the distinction between copywriting an individual recipe versus a cookbook as a whole. She also admitted that she had not handled the situation well on a personal level, recognizing that she had been unkind to Ashley and quick to assume the worst.
Good morning, friends. Yesterday, I really fucked up and I'm not proud of how I handled the situation. To quickly tell you what happened, I saw a cake pop recipe written within a TikTok caption. I thought it came from my recipe book because I was tagged, and I handled the situation poorly. The legal advice I received in the past said this was wrong because I had a copyright on the book, but you guys quickly informed me, and now I know that that's not the case. A recipe book is copyrighted as a whole, not on individual recipes. I was confused. I was acting on advice that I had been given in the past, and I didn't lead with my heart. I didn't lead with kindness, and obviously that showed. But I do just want everybody to know that I take accountability for the way I responded to Ashley. I know that Ashley didn't get the best version of me yesterday, and you don't know me and you can say what you want, but if you did know me, you would know how heavy that sits on my heart and how sorry I am that she did get the worst version of me. I totally hear you guys. I do use box cake, but I do have over 70 recipes that I want people to make, that I made simple for everybody to use. I can't say enough that I understand Ashley didn't have bad intentions, that I should have taken the time before reacting.
Sorry, I feel like I was using the word trademarking earlier when I was saying these were trademarked recipes. Maybe I was saying copyrighted. I'm not trying to be a legal podcast, clearly. Okay. So she went on to essentially try to take some accountability for the situation. She admitted that she should have taken time before reacting. And at the same time, she spoke to the toll that it has taken on her family and herself, describing the volume of hate and death threats that she has received as frightening and uncalled for. I mean, yeah, the way that people get so enraged and so aggressive around this very niche interpersonal drama. This kind of stuff happens so often on TikTok. And I'm not saying that Katie was not in the wrong here, of course, but the way that people react to this, it's as if these people who are under controversy, under scrutiny, it's they have done something so horrifically personal to us as the internet users. They've done something the worst thing you could do to a person, they've done it to us. People go so wild. I've seen a lot of questions around when creators are I'm getting death threats, I'm, getting all these horrible DMs. And I've seen people question if that's just for attention or sympathy, if people say that and it's not totally true. I can tell you, I have seen many a death threat in a creator's DMs. I 100% believe that. And I'm sure we can also understand that from looking at the comment sections in these videos. People get so enraged. They get so out of control about these things. Okay, so, death threats and horrific DMs and stuff aside, the apology in general hasn't really landed with users. Throughout this whole thing, many users pointed out that Katie openly uses boxed cake mix in her recipes, which obviously has led people to question if her recipe can really be considered hers to begin with. And then the inclusion of Fruity Pebbles, which is a very popular cereal, like she's not making that cereal from scratch, is a key ingredient, which has added to the skepticism. And many feel like it kind of further weakens her copyright claim. I don't know if I agree with that sentiment. I think it can still be somebody's original recipe just because they didn't make every single ingredient from scratch. In regard to her apology specifically, a common sentiment is that she may not have come forward if Ashley's video had not gone so viral, and that the real catalyst was the threat of losing brand deals because Daisy Makes, which is a cake pop focused company, posted a statement to Instagram announcing they were suspending their collaboration with Katie effective immediately. They wrote, quote, "At Daisy Makes, we believe kindness matters. We do not condone bullying, personal attacks, or unkind behavior toward anyone. While we cannot control what people choose to say or do on the internet, we can control who we choose to build meaningful collaborations with. We will always stand behind the values of treating others with respect, grace, and professionalism." And that's the power of Snooki, okay? If Snooki's behind you, the internet's behind you. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys today, more trademark drama. Like I said, we actually got tagged in this on TikTok, which is hilarious, asking us to cover this because like we are the legal podcast for internet culture now. I don't know how we got here. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't mean for this to be what the podcast has turned into. And like the fact that people are tagging us in like legal drama, being like, can you cover this? Like, I am not a lawyer. I'll cover it from like a controversy scandal perspective. But like, please no, get your legal advice from someone else. Okay, a country singer named Ernest is at the center of a trademark dispute over his new album, Deep Blue, after Brooke Buckham, the owner of a small sustainable clothing brand, Planet Deep Blue, accused him of infringing on her trademark. Planet Deep Blue is billed as, quote, streetwear for the ocean. It produces sustainable, American-made, 100% cotton clothing, seeking to clean the ocean through sustainable streetwear. The branding is stylized as Deep Blue, all in capital letters, with a full stop at the end. So Brooke posted a TikTok 5 days ago claiming trademark infringements, and it has since accumulated 1.5 million views. In it, she alleges Ernest reached out to her on Instagram back in January, letting her know his upcoming album would be titled Deep Blue and floating the idea of a collaboration. After some conversations with his manager and attorney, his team ended up backing out, saying it would be a losing venture. They allegedly offered to buy the designs that she had already created instead, but Brooke declined the offer. Ernest has since launched merch for his new album, and in the TikTok, Brooke compares the designs in the TikTok, but also discusses the materials of the clothing. She notes that it is a cotton/polyester blend, suggesting that it is greenwashing, essentially. Brooke says she does not want to be affiliated with greenwashing, and this is a blatant trademark infringement. She claims to own the registered trademark for the stylized wordmark Deep Blue with the period at the end. Per the screenshot she provided, she filed the trademark in February 2025, and it was registered in April of this year. As a result, Brooke shares that she has since gone on to issue a cease and desist.
This country music singer is using my brand and my name on his merchandise and is now ignoring our cease and desist letters. Back in January of this year, Ernest reached out to us on Instagram, informing us that his new album being released would be titled Deep Blue. That is the name of my brand. He also informed me that he purchased some clothing and that he wanted to do a collaboration that would remove ocean plastic for his Deep Blue album. I said, that sounds wonderful. And then I got into contact with his manager and with his attorney. After many months of back and forth and lots of time and resources invested into this collab, we basically could not come to an agreement on how we would structure this. I created this brand because the fashion industry has a major problem with pollution, synthetic textiles, garment worker exploitation, and I wanted to do absolutely the opposite. We only use natural fabrics, 100% cotton. We only manufacture in the United States. Given that, it's pretty expensive to produce clothing this way, and most people are not willing to do so. They got back to me and told me that this would be a losing venture for Ernest, and then they requested to purchase the design so that they could create their own merch with my name and with my design. I declined this offer. On April 28th, this post popped up on my Instagram feed from Ernest showing a Deep Blue t-shirt. On May 5th, I saw this post on Instagram showing the hoodie and the t-shirt that is now available for purchase on his merch store. This is the t-shirt that they were selling, and this is the sweatshirt that I designed for them originally.
Okay, in a follow-up video, Brooke doubled down on the fact that she doesn't have a problem with the design. It's a problem with the trademark. She also added that Ernest's team responded on the final day of the cease and desist deadline, but they didn't remove the merchandise from his shop. So Ernest has addressed the situation a couple of times publicly. So in an Instagram story, he alleged that Planet Deep Blue filed a new trademark application for the words Deep Blue, noting that this filing came after his album dropped, pointing out the trademark was filed on May 24th, while his album came out on May 1st. Brooke did acknowledge this in another TikTok, saying that there was an earlier trademark, one that she did previously include in her videos, and she captioned the post, quote, "At Ernest, if you're going to comment on trademark infringement, please show the full context. You and your team have seen both trademarks." So 2 days ago, he posted a TikTok addressing this situation. He says he's not ripping off Planet Deep Blue's designs. However, it is worth noting that is actually not Brooke's point. That's not what she's trying to say in her video. Obviously, we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes, but publicly, from what we know, that's not really her point. He also says that his lawyers have been responding to her inquiries. Regardless, he's encouraged fans to support Planet Deep Blue and insisted he has no issue with the company.
Fighting for my life on social media right now. Good morning, I'm Ernest. This is the first episode of Damned If You Do, Damned If You Don't. I have no personal beef or problems with Planet Deep Blue. She's a badass, she's making great clothes, and she's doing it for a good cause. That's how I felt since day one. When I originally reached out to her, after I'd finished my album Deep Blue and gotten the packaging done and we're starting to think about merch, we had our little, our vinyl packaging with brand DNA is what you call it. So you had the Deep Blue cursive, some anchor rope, etc. That we would be using on the vinyl packaging already. So we just wanted her to mock up a couple designs to see what we could do as a collab with Planet Deep Blue. And so the image that she's been posting saying that we stole her design, everything on that shirt besides a palm tree, was in our packaging. That's our cursive. That's all that stuff that we use on the vinyl, if you open up the vinyl, on the inside of the vinyl. Because we want the merchandise and the vinyl to all live in the same world. We were gonna have to end up charging like $180 for a sweater, and as much as I genuinely do love what she's doing at Deep Blue, I'm just not gonna make my fans pay that. So we used our in-house designer, put it on a shirt, and in exchange, donating money to Tennessee Riverkeepers, which is this much compared to, the bigger picture here. And I agree. If there's one thing I did wrong this whole time, the fast fashion industry is terrible for the environment, and that's in direct contrast to, honestly, what I believe. I know it's direct contrast to what Planet Deep Blue, Madame believes, and so many others. But I'm not stealing nobody's designs. I've supported small businesses, independent creators. My wife's a graphic design artist and a photographer. So it's unfortunate to see this thing get out of hand, but that's the internet. You've already chosen a side. This is kind of just me speaking my piece.
Okay, so tapping in a TikTok lawyer. A lawyer has weighed in on TikTok, offering her own take and some clarity on the legal side. So she argues the designs themselves aren't really the issue. What matters is the name, since it's, quote, the exact same name for the exact same goods. She also notes that trademark law often comes down to a subjective question rather than a clear-cut answer. This is from lawyer Kelly.
Is this trademark infringement between Ernest and the company Deep Blue? So first of all, when it comes to trademark infringement, your brand does not need to be exactly identical to someone else's in order for there to be infringement. It can be too similar in terms of the way it looks, the way it sounds, a similar meaning. All of those things can still be infringement. So the fact that the brand Deep Blue has a period at the end has no real, it doesn't make a difference, because Deep Blue and Deep Blue with a period sound the same, they look pretty similar, and they have the same meaning, and they give off the same impression. I also think it's obviously pretty telling here that they started to at least attempt to have conversations about some type of collaboration, and then obviously it did not work out, and Ernest went ahead and did it anyway. Even though clearly the fact that they were trying to collab in the beginning shows that there was at least some understanding, it would seem, on their part of the fact that this brand was owned by Deep Blue and not them. Otherwise, what would the point of them even be trying to come up with the collaboration before? They would have just come out with their own Deep Blue merch initially if they thought that they were not in the wrong. It also does not really matter how close or different the designs are between what she initially created and what they initially released. It also doesn't really matter about how close or different the designs look. So it doesn't really matter about what she designed initially for it to be and then what they initially came out with. It matters here about the name. So what we're looking at is Deep Blue for merchandise, what Ernest is doing, versus the trademark Deep Blue with a period, also for merchandise, right? Are those things too similar? Could someone potentially be confused and think that there was some type of collaboration or affiliation or something between the two brands, because obviously it's the same exact name for the same exact goods?
Okay, so one comment from someone who works in music merchandising, apparently, under the video was particularly telling as well. They wrote, quote, "As someone who works in the music merch industry, when you get a cease and desist, you generally take that merch down right away until it's resolved. I was a bit surprised to not see that happen. Design buyouts are not uncommon, but based on the rejection, I imagine there could be a paper trail with a designer at the merch company or in their network of designers being told to make something similar, but different enough based on her original design, which would probably be favorable to her. It bums me out to know for economic reasons, those slightly different designs are being printed on very standard industry blanks that ethically contaminated her brand. Not ideal." Now, there has been a lot of speculation that this is like a PR stunt to amplify both brands or like both personalities. And Planet Deep Blue, she has gone on to deny this. In one TikTok comment, the brand wrote, "It's not a stunt, but thanks." Do you guys remember when Mango Tea and Shannon Rose did that PR stunt? Like, I know there's been a million more PR stunts, but like for some reason that just came to the forefront of my mind as I was reading this. Do you guys remember when they did that PR stunt where they pretended to have drama on YouTube with each other and then people like realized that it was fake and then they had to come out and make a video being like, yeah, this was all fake? That I would never show my face on the internet again. That was so embarrassing and so unwell. If you guys want to deep dive into that situation, oh my God, I would love to. I would love to bring that to you guys, so let me know. Okay, the last story that I have for you guys today is Lizzo has collaborated with the Swiftologist on the launch of his new podcast. So Lizzo is leaning right into TikTok for the launch of her latest album, Bitch. And aside from regular promo, Lizzo sat down with the Swiftologist for the debut episode of his new long-form interview series, Protopop. Lizzo has been pretty transparent over the past few months about how her career has evolved over the years, not necessarily for the better. She has continuously discussed the rise of TikTok and streaming, the decline of radio, and her label's decreased investment in her as a way to explain why her album is essentially flopping. And there is, of course, that big lawsuit that happened with her backup dancers, where they claimed sexual harassment and hostile work environment. And while Lizzo has denied these claims, and I don't fully remember what happened with this lawsuit, but obviously things evolved and changed throughout this lawsuit. Regardless, I think it was a really big moment for her in terms of her public perception. And I don't think she's been able to recover from that. So yes, she's very much been building in public right now. It's giving founder content, okay? It's grassroots, musician content where you're okay, let me film myself, putting up my own posters and begging you to stream my music and all of that kind of stuff, which we see on TikTok all the time. And sometimes it really works, but it's not really working for Lizzo in the way that she wants it to. So the album dropped on June 5th, and many music commentary creators have since taken to the platform to talk about how the album has been considered a flop by essentially all measures. And Lizzo has not been shying away from this, okay? We'll give her that. She's been talking very publicly about how it's been flopping, and now she has sat down for this interview with the Swiftologist.
How do you describe where you are in your career? A real answer, not a PR line.
I think right now, dropping the album, I took it to heart really, really heavily. So this is the non-PR. I hurt my own feelings, and I was really stressed and I was really sad for a few days because I just was wait a minute, this is some of my best stuff. I had to come to terms with the fact that not only is the music industry different in the last 3 years, and we need to talk about that. We need to talk about the radio aspect that I got my chewed out for, but it's happening and it's true. But also my relationship and my connection musically with the world is different. And I think I had to kind of mourn that. I had all of these high hopes, I think, for what we would do the first week. And it didn't match. I was so excited because I met my pre-save goal and I met all of that. And then it dropped and I was like, oh, okay, this isn't what I kind of thought it would be. I didn't think it would be crazy, but I also didn't think it would be this. And I think that there was like 24 hours of my life where I based my success and my worth on a number.
Okay, so I wanted to touch on the reaction to this collaboration because it hasn't been entirely favorable. The Swiftologist, as we know, is a very polarizing figure. He tends to attract criticism regardless, but much of the criticism is actually around what Lizzo was saying. People are saying that she feels really out of touch and like reluctant to take accountability for how her career has shifted. I don't know if that's like entirely valid. I think it's completely fair to educate your listenership, your audience on like what is happening in the industry. You know, like every industry is being impacted right now by tech, AI, like so many different factors. So I think it's fine for her to be like educating us on like, here is what it is like behind the scenes. Here's how it's changed since I last dropped an album, like whatever. I think that's completely fair. But I also understand from the listener's perspective or the audience's perspective, where it's like, yes, every industry changes though, and you have to evolve and adapt to stay relevant and to keep up with it. And like, you're not always gonna be on top, right? Like it's really hard to stay on top. So there needs to be a little bit of both, right? It's like, yes, the industry has changed and what I have done in the past is not working. And that is out of my control. But like what is in my control is XYZ. So like some acknowledgement of that, I think would have landed a lot better. Okay, so one of the top comments reads, Lizzo is attributing her album's poor performance to everything except the music itself. Across this and other interviews, she keeps focusing on awards, certifications, and record-breaking achievements, but this leaves little to no room for the actual listener experience, which is ultimately what determines whether an album connects at all. Your persona is centered on confidence, in one's own voice, self, and ability, so it feels contradictory to see material accolades treated as the primary benchmark of worth and success. I definitely agree with that to an extent, but I also think she probably is, maybe on interviews is not the time to be processing this, but I think she probably is processing the fact that like she literally, didn't she win Album of the Year at the Grammys at some point? Let me check. Okay, no, she did not win Album of the Year, but she has been nominated twice, okay? Like to go from that to being able to barely sell like a few thousand copies in your first week of album sales, like that would be the biggest headfuck of all time. Like I also understand why she's, you know, hanging on to that past, like to those past accolades, because they were the things that she was probably working towards like her entire career, her whole life, right? It's like, if you can just get to this benchmark, these milestones, you've made it. And then you don't have to like worry as much anymore as an artist. And that obviously is just like not her reality right now. And I think that's the truth for like every industry. Like I said, every industry is under such turmoil and being so disrupted right now. But yeah, and I think the decision to sit down with the Swiftologist could have been really powerful because he commands such an engaged, like chronically online stan audience. It could have been really good for her because you could argue like Lizzo needs to kind of move away, right? From like the general like radio listeners, and she needs to develop like a really culty stand-up. And the Swiftologist, for better or worse, he understands that beat, okay? And I feel like this could have been really powerful for her, but I just don't think it landed like that. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us so much. It helps us grow. Please Spotify star rate us. Annabelle will talk to you guys tomorrow, and then I will talk to you on Thursday. Bye. Centennial World Podcast Network operates on Gadigal land. We would like to acknowledge the Gadigal of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay our respects to elders both past and present.